This video shows you how to update the firmware on your printer. Firmware updates improve printer performance and fix some issues. HP suggests updating to the most current version of firmware available. Before installing the firmware update, you will need to have the OfficeJet 8500 software properly installed on your computer using either USB or a wired Ethernet connection. The firmware update will not work on a wireless connection. If you have not installed the OfficeJet 8500 software on your computer, you should do so before continuing. First, we want to verify that there is a good connection between the computer and the printer. We also need to check the current version of firmware on the printer. Make sure the printer is powered on. If it is not powered on, press the power button. From your computer, double-click the HP Solution Center icon that is on your desktop. Click the Settings button and then click the Printer Toolbox button. On the Toolbox window, click the Services tab. Click the Print a Self-Diagnostic Page button, then click Print. Take note of the firmware version on the self-diagnostic page, as we will compare this to the version on the HP website, then proceed to the next step. Next, go to the HP website to check for new firmware. Click the Start button or Windows icon. Click Internet Explorer. Type in www.hp.com on the address bar and then press Enter. Click the link for Support and Drivers. Since we want to download software, click the Drivers and Software option. In the Enter a Product Name Number text box, type in your model number. With the model number entered, press the Search button or press Enter on your keyboard. Choose your specific model from the list shown. If you are unsure of the specific model number, check the inside of the ink cartridge door for the specific number. Click the drop-down box for operating system and choose yours, and then click Next. Click the link for firmware to list the available firmware updates for the OfficeJet 8500. Compare the firmware version number from the self-test diagnostic page to the listed firmware update version. Stop here if the latest firmware update version is the same as what you have on the test page. If the firmware update version listed is more recent than the one on the self-test diagnostic page, click on HP OfficeJet Pro Firmware. Click the Download button. A download window will come up. Select Save and then select Desktop as the location to download the firmware update to. Click Save again to download the file. Before starting the firmware update process, keep these warnings in mind. Do not turn off or press any buttons on the printer during the firmware upgrade process. Doing so will damage the printer. Be sure to click Allow if you receive any warnings from your firewall. Double-click the firmware update file you previously downloaded from hp.com and saved to your desktop. The file should start with OfficeJet Pro 8500. The firmware update software opens and your printer should be listed on the window. Click the checkbox next to your printer and then click the Download button. The firmware update process will transfer the new firmware to the OfficeJet 8500. You will see a progress bar that indicates the files are being transferred to the printer. Once the transfer is complete, a summary window will open on the computer. Click OK to close the summary and you can then close the utility. At this point during the upgrade process, the printer LCD will show a firmware update screen which displays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There will also be a progress bar below the numbers. You will see the printer cycle through the numbers as the firmware update is being applied. Once the update is done, the printer will automatically restart. After the printer is restarted, it will print a self-test diagnostic page. Compare the firmware version on the printout to the firmware version that you identified on HP's webpage. If the firmware version matches, the firmware has been successfully installed.